There's an important activity that everyone should be doing if they're a business owner, but a lot of solopreneur business owners will skip over or maybe ignore completely, or maybe just not realize that it needs to be done. And by doing it, they could make their marketing 100 times easier and 100 times more effective. And that activity is market research. I honestly want you to know how important this is, how you can undertake this in a really time-efficient way, and it can completely change the game for you. So if you're a coach and you want marketing to feel easier, sales to feel easier, then stay tuned and I'm going to share these strategies with you today. Hello, welcome to the Life First Coaching Business Podcast. I'm your host, Leonie, and I'm all about helping new coaches like you create life first businesses you love by building out the key foundations you need for an easeful and joyful business, where you get to make an impact doing what lights you up and helping others. We talk about the strategies, the systems, and the mindset you need to make your coaching business work for you. So let's dive in. Okay, so if you've been feeling at all like you're a bit lost with your marketing and your coaching business, or you don't feel like you've got your strategy fully dialed in, maybe you've been taking lots of action and not seeing the results, today I want to talk to you about how doing some key strategic market research in 3 key areas can really, really help you up-level your marketing, streamline your strategy, and get much better results from what you're doing. This is a key activity that's included in my program, the Life First Coaches Launch Plan. But it is something I can see coaches often kind of skip over or not really give it the focus it deserves. And last week I was listening to a podcast. It's a food podcast I listened to called Table Manners. And the guest on there was Emma Grady, I believe you pronounce her surname, but she's the CEO of Skims, the shapewear brand that she's collaborated with Kim Kardashian, and also the denim brand Good American that she is partnered with Khloe Kardashian on. And she's kind of the brains behind it. My understanding, particularly with Good American, the brand was her idea and she approached Khloe Kardashian to collaborate with her on it. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I heard her talking on this food podcast and I loved the way she was talking about business and things. And I went, like I often do with things, when I like something, I go find it everywhere I can and dive deep. So I went to listen to some of her other interviews on other podcasts. And something I noticed that she kept saying in other interviews was how much focus she has on knowing her market. So she said, there's nothing about denim and nothing about knickers I don't know. I've researched all our competitors. I know exactly what they're doing in their business. I know exactly when they're launching things. There's nothing that I don't know. Now, you might hear that and think, well, Leonie, I'm not $1 billion brand. I don't need to think the way that she does. But there's a reason that businesses, big businesses we know about, do so much work to know their market. So any business that's launching a product will know the market inside out. They'll know the competition. They'll find the gaps. They will understand their client. And when we're saying the word marketing, that's exactly what we're doing, is creating something that fits a market. So it's imperative that we know the market we're creating something for. That is a pivotal part of marketing. So treat your business exactly the same way as these big businesses treat their products. When you're launching an offer, that's your product, and you need to know your market. You need to know how you're positioning it in your market, and you need to know who you're competing against and who you're creating it for. So today I'm going to share 3 areas for you to focus on, some simple actions and tips you can take in those 3 areas to focus your time and how you can actually take the information that you gather through your market research and apply it, and how it's going to up-level your game when it comes to marketing your coaching and creating your offers. So some of the key things that you want to grasp when you're doing market research is understanding your ideal client, understanding what their needs are, what their desires are, what their problems are, how they talk about it, what they're struggling with, and the things that are on their mind when it comes to solving this problem, such as the things they're trying that aren't working, the frustrations they have, the worries they have about investing in solving the problem, the objections they might have to coaching. So all those things about your ideal client, you want to have a really deep understanding of. Also, what their other options are in the market and the things that are going on in that market, in that niche that you're working within. And what it will do for you is it will help form your messaging, the way you communicate what you do and how you help people. It will help you form your offers, and it will make your content resonate so that when you're creating content with informed knowledge about what your audience wants, what they're thinking, what they know, what they don't know, what they need to know, and how they need to hear the things that you want to communicate to them, you can create much more potent content. And just to say, like with a lot of things in business, your market research is not a one and done thing. It's something that you always want to keep abreast of in your industry, in knowing what's going on in your industry and having your finger on the pulse, as they say. So it's definitely something you want to have going on in the background, but also every now and then have some focused time to spend on really thinking about how you're applying what you've learned to your business and how you're making tweaks and refining things based on your new learnings, because we never want to be, burning everything down and thinking we need to start it again because market shifts have happened. You just want to make sure that you're always considering what's going on in the current climate and making adjustments and tweaking and refining and improving according to what's going on. So let's dive into some of the actions that you can take in this space. And I'm going to introduce a concept to you, the 3 C's of market research that every new coach needs to know about. I like to call these the 3 C's of smart market research. And once you know about these 3 things, and once you've understood these inside out when it comes to your niche, as I said, your marketing, your message, your offers are going to become much more potent. So C number 1, clients. As I've already touched on, you really need to deeply understand your client and understand the words that they use. So we call this voice of client research. And the best way of doing this is having real conversations with people who fit your ideal clients. Obviously, first and foremost, you need to be clear on who your ideal client is, who you're targeting. And then you want to have a few conversations with those people and ask the right questions, which are really going to get to the bottom of what you need to know about them. So you want to be asking them about their challenges related to what you help them with. You want to be understanding their desires, where they'd like to get to. You want to know what things they've already been trying, what things they think are stopping them from achieving this outcome or having this transformation, what things they think about themselves are stopping them, what things they think externally in the external world are keeping them stuck or stopping them, and what they would ideally like life to look like on the other side of this transformation, or if they could solve this problem, what they would ideally like things to look like. So those are just some of the really key questions that you'd want to be digging into when you're having market research conversations, and always going a few layers deeper. So asking and why, so that you can really get to the heart of what's going on for them under the surface level stuff. Because often, initially, when you ask someone a question like that, the first answer might be a bit more surface level. Whereas if you can keep going a few layers deeper, that's when you can really get to the heart of what's going on. But then otherwise, making sure you understand where you can get in front of your ideal clients. Where are they already hanging out online or in real life, as we say? What do those communities look like? What's going on inside those communities? What kinds of conversations are happening? What kinds of things are being shared? If you can get into, say, some Facebook groups or some online forums where people are discussing whatever it is that you help them with, and you can actually see what conversations are going on, what people are asking, what questions are being shared, that can be really amazing intel as to what's going on for your ideal clients. And you can grasp a lot from a lot of tools online in terms of, what are people searching for? So looking at on some of these SEO tools about what questions are coming up. There's a website you can go on to tool called Answer the Public, where you can type a couple of keywords, like the keywords for your niche, say. So if you're a menopause coach, you might type in menopause health coaching, and then it will give you an overview of all the questions that are being asked online related to your topic. And that can give you some interesting intel as to what people are searching for online. So do some work to understand your clients, have some key conversations, and then just spend a bit of time digging around the internet to find out the places your ideal clients hang out, the things they're talking about in those places, what those kinds of communities are like, what sort of vibe they have, and what questions people are asking, what are people searching for. So you can do a bit of testing, even in the Google search bar, where, when you start typing something, it will give you a list of the kind of things it's guessing that you might ask. Or you can do the same in Pinterest as well and just see what people are searching for and what's being asked. So that's C number 1. C number 2 is competition. So you want to understand who your direct competitors are. It's not about kind of comparisonitis and feeling like there's all these more established coaches out there doing what you do, and for that to put you into a scarcity mindset or anything. It's about understanding the market. So you want to be looking at maybe some of the top people in your niche who are well established and who have huge followings, because from them you can definitely see, okay, what's working, what are they including in their messaging, what kind of lead magnets do they have, what content are they creating. But then you also want to try and establish who might be your direct competition and just have an awareness of what other options are out there for people, and looking at what offers people are offering and how they're wording things specifically as well. So establishing your competition, and then what you can do when you've established those kind of big names in your space, get on their email list, subscribe to their podcast, follow them on social media, and just make sure you've got that finger on the pulse as to what the top people in your industry are talking about, what they're doing, how they're talking to the ideal client that you're targeting as well. Look at things like the titles of their podcast episodes, the hooks on their pieces of content, the title of the book that you've written, the lead magnet that they have, the name of their offer, and the offer statement. So all those things, if you are wanting to be really focused and targeted and not having to think I need to read every single blog post on their website or listen to every single episode of their podcast, but just look at the titles, that will give you a lot of intel about the things that are resonating with your ideal clients, because those are the things that those people are using to grab their attention and hook them in. And that can be really interesting intel. But also have a look at the engagement they're getting on their posts and things like that, because again, you can see what's resonating, what conversations it's generating, what people who might fit your ideal client profile are asking or saying. That can also be really interesting intel. And don't look at any of this as kind of sneaky work that you're doing. It's very, very smart as a business owner to understand your market and understand your clients. And as I've already said, it's exactly what all the big businesses are doing, and you should be treating your business no differently. So don't feel like this is some backdoor way of being sneaky by looking at what the competition are doing. That's not what it's about at all. It's about understanding your market. It's about being smart. It's what smart business owners do. And it's not smart to just go and create your business with no knowledge or understanding of your market. So if you are maybe thinking like, oh, this feels a bit sneaky, this feels a bit like looking over my shoulder at someone else's test answers when I was at school and told not to copy, shift your mindset around it, because you are not looking at these things so you can directly copy. And that's definitely not what I'm saying. It's about understanding where you position yourself in this landscape, how you can make sure you can stand out by being different for being you, but also not trying to be so different that what you're doing doesn't resonate with your ideal clients. You want to make sure what you're doing resonates. And even though you have your own spin on it and you bring your own personality to it, that you're still creating something that's marketable. So let's move on to C number 3. We've done clients, we've talked about competition, and number 3 is climate. So understanding the trends, the shifts, the changes that are going on in your niche, in your area of your industry. So, things are always changing all the time. Things are evolving, particularly when it comes to the way people are being nurtured and sold to. We're seeing a lot of fast shifts in terms of things like social media content or the things that are working because of attention span, because of some disruptive things that are coming in, such as AI. It's important to be aware of these broader shifts and changes, obviously shifts to the economy. They all affect how we do business. So it's important to keep track of them. And being in business communities is really helpful for this, where the conversations about these things are happening, and having an awareness of just the shifts in the market from a business perspective is really important. But then also understanding the shifts and trends in your particular industry. So if you're in a certain health space, what are the things that are being talked about? What are the new pieces of research that are affecting that area? Making sure that you know about what's going on. So some strategic and practical ways of doing this is making sure you can pinpoint a few different places where you can get your information from, whether it's certain journals or online publications that you can subscribe to, and just keep a check of what's going on in your industry. Again, following those leaders in your industry is probably going to be useful for that as well. But just giving yourself a short list of places to go and visit periodically and regularly to keep on top of what's going on and keep your finger on the pulse. So those are your 3 areas that you really want to think about. Now, because we have ChatGPT at our fingertips nowadays, you can feed the information you gather and summarize for yourself from these things into ChatGPT and ask it to give you some practical solutions on how to consider these things and apply them in your business. So that is an amazing tool that we have at our disposal now. So instead of you just gathering all this information and thinking, well, great, it's in my mind and I kind of know it, but I'm not strategically thinking about how I'm applying that to what I'm doing, you can feed it into ChatGPT and it will much more quickly be able to pick out kind of recurring themes, pick out key phrases, pick out key themes that are going on throughout those different things that you've gathered and collected. So carry out some of that research, compile it all into a Google Doc, and then use ChatGPT to summarize and pinpoint and ask it how you can start applying these things to your content. So if you're picking out key phrases or themes that are coming up from your voice of client research, making sure you're using those words on your website, in your social media content, in your emails. Also, it can help you for SEO research as well. So picking out keywords for your SEO on your website and things, if you're at that stage of doing that. If you're one of the coaches listening to this who's in the very early stages of your business, then please remember, as I always say, not to dive into things like creating your website until you've built the strategy pieces of your business and you've gotten clear on your niche, your messaging, your offer, and how you're going to sell it. And those are the things that we work on inside my program to get your business launched before you dive into pouring your energy into some of these other more time-consuming marketing strategies and tactics so that you've got the right foundations in place. So do the market research, apply it to your messaging, use it to help form your offer. Think about it when it comes to how you're selling your offer, like how you're actually doing it and how you're communicating during that process. And then start applying it to things like your website once you've got those strategy pieces built out. So some other practical things you can do to inform your market research. As I said, listen to podcasts, spend some time in those community groups, on those forums, in those Facebook groups. Look at the key things like the latest books in your niche that have come out. Look at the titles of them, look at the blurbs, look at the different chapters in there to get a real overview of the content of that book if you haven't got time to read the whole thing. but audiobooks are amazing for that. So you can always listen to the audiobooks while you're on your walk and things. Having conversations with your ideal clients is ideal, but you can also run polls, ask questions and things on your social media and your Instagram stories just to get short snippets, but also to open the door for more of a conversation. If someone does answer your poll or answer your question on there, then you can send them a DM and asking, oh, would you mind if I just asked you a couple more questions on that? That can be a great way to start building relationships with people as well. And just track the language that you read and hear. So when you are thinking about your ideal client, when you're either having conversations or you're looking at things that your ideal clients are saying, asking, talking about, just tune in and listen to those exact phrases, listen to those, the way they describe it themselves. Because I think what we can often do is project things in our own mind of how we've interpreted what they've said and kind of forget exactly how they've described it themselves, which is really powerful if you can tune into those things. And if you do all of that, I promise it's going to help you later. And with a lot of these things, when it comes to building foundational strategy, it can sometimes feel frustrating, like, oh, I'm sitting in this work and I just want to get going. I'm itching to, do the polished bits that I can put out into the world, like social media content or a website. And this stuff can feel a bit uncomfortable because you're sitting in something that takes up time without you feeling like you've got a lot to show for it. But I promise you it's going to make all that other stuff later on so much more effective. So spend some time doing this. You don't have to be in this work for ages, but giving it some time to really feel like you've got a grasp on what's going on in your space is going to help you so much. So if you're listening to this or you've listened to my other episodes and you're like, Leonie, I completely understand why I have to do all this stuff that you're telling me to, but I just don't even know where to start or what to do each day to get it done, then that's exactly what the Life First Coaches launch plan can do for you. It gives you all the step-by-step, all the tools, all the frameworks, all the resources to be able to go through this process of building the foundations of your coaching business the right way. So if you want to know more about that, I'll share the link to the program in the show notes. And if you're interested in joining, it just starts with us having a 30-minute clarity call. So no obligations when you book that call, but it's to make sure it's the right fit for you and it's going to work for you. So have a look at it and book a clarity call if you're interested. And something else really exciting I can share with you is that my signature masterclass, the 4 steps to signing coaching clients with ease, is now available to watch on demand. So I'll share the link to that here too. I've just put it up last week as a product in my Stan store. So if you want to get your hands on that, it's 35-minute training, which talks you through the 4 strategic steps to build out these foundations for your coaching business as well. And at the end of that, I also give you some of the details about the launch plan program. So that might be a great first place for you to check out if you're interested in getting support with doing all this. But otherwise, I hope that's inspired you to go and do a bit of market research in your area of your business. It's going to build your confidence as well to just feel like you have that knowledge. So go away and do that. Use all the amazing tools we have at our disposal now of searching for stuff on the internet, not having to go out and knock on people's doors, and also being able to analyze it and summarize it all in ChatGPT as well. So it should be really quick and easy for you to do this work and get the benefits of having that knowledge. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in and for giving your time to this podcast. I so appreciate you being here. If you've got a few seconds spare, please leave a rating and a review and share this with another coach who you know will find it useful. And I'll catch you again next week. Take care. Oh, before you go, you need to grab yourself a copy of the best and most useful freebie on the internet for coaches. It's my free 1-page client attraction blueprint. It takes you through the exact 7 steps you need to go from 0 clients to filling your wait list. And you can map it out all on 1 page, and there's a mini training that comes with it that walks you through that process. So head to the link in the show notes and grab your copy now.